Hey guys, welcome back to the 44th and maybe last Sky Battle commentary video. So, over the past couple weeks, I've been doing my rankings and stuff again, as I do this time of year typically. And, I thought, ooh, what am I going to do this week? What am I going to do this week? But then I realized, wait a second, I haven't done Minecraft structures. And so that's what we're going to do today. And starting off with the underground structures, we have the massive ancient cities. From even just like a game design standpoint, I absolutely love this structure. Terrified of it, but I love it. A lot of people say that this structure is like useless and it shouldn't exist and it's like stupid, but no, like it has a use, okay? Swift Snake, one of the greatest enchantments in this whole game, is in there. There isn't much else, I will say, but it's such a good enchantment, and the whole point of the Deep Dark is you're not really supposed to fight. There's not supposed to be a purpose for it, it's supposed to be one of those things that you avoid or die trying. And I think that this structure actually, is very good at accomplishing that goal. Next up, we have mine shafts, and these can be found all over your Minecraft world, and I'll be honest, I am terrified of them. Every time I go into a mine shaft, I want to get out of there as fast as possible. I don't know what it is, it's just those winding tunnels. Same with, I guess we'll get to it in a second, strongholds. Same with those, they're just they're too twisty and turvy and stuff. But, I overall think that they're a pretty good structure. They give some spice to the underground that's much more common than ancient cities or really any other of the underground structures proper. I guess dungeons? I don't know if dungeons are actually more common. That'd be interesting to find out, probably, but who knows. But even those don't give like a huge amount of effect and, experience to caves, but I think mine shafts, they really do. Next up, we have strongholds, and as I just said, they scare me because you never know what's around corners. The worst thing in this game, in my opinion, or one of the worst things in this game, in my opinion, is when you turn a corner and there's just like a creeper right there. Really any mob, but particularly a creeper, because then you're stuck there for a solid good amount of time, wondering, what do I do, what do I do? And then you just explode and die, that's no fun. And personally, that terrifies me. So I try to avoid these things as much as possible. It's a great perk of, having a long-term single player, is you don't have to worry about these things often. You get one stronghold and you're good. But next we have Trail Ruins, and Trail Ruins, they're really cool. I don't really know exactly how to put this, because a lot of people don't like them. They're like, oh, this is an update? This is nothing. Trails and Tales is the smallest update ever. It's like, no, Frostburn update existed. And this adds so much content to the game, okay? Armor trims, you can find them here, I think I went on a whole talk about this before, so I'm not gonna bear on it for too long, but Trail Ruins, fantastic structure, super fun to go through. I went through one last week, very fun. My only criticism of them really is they're just really hard to find. Like, it was a lucky find that I just found one out in the open. Next up, we have the Trial Chambers, and similar to the Trail Ruins, I've talked about them already. I've talked about them a lot. I've said that I love them so much. They're one of my favorite structures. And they are, very good structure. Trial Chambers are like, how during the cave update stuff, everyone was like, we need upgraded dungeons. This is the upgraded dungeons you guys have been waiting for. And it's fantastic. And I love them, and they're super fun. Next one, as we transition to the above ground, we have the Buried Treasure, which is technically an underground structure, because that's buried after all. And these, they're pretty good, I think they're great for speedrunners, but, they're also really fun to just, they're in the world. I've always just liked these random little things that, have been in your world, but you don't know are there, just hidden stuff It's there. Stuff you stumble across after playing in a world for like a year and you're like, wait, this has been here the whole time? Stuff like that. I love that type of stuff. And buried treasures do that while also rewarding like an actual gain, you know, like hearts of the sea. You can only get them from buried treasures. How else are you gonna breathe underwater if, you know, you don't like killing pufferfish, I guess. You know? Conduits. But now to the above ground structures. Of course, we have the Desert Temple, one of the most, I'd say probably the most famous Minecraft structure, or at least most well known, probably. You know, like, if you're thinking of a Minecraft structure, it's Desert Temple, or like maybe a village. But I think Desert Temples are great. You know, the loot, fantastic. The trap element, I think, could be improved. I feel like a randomized pressure plate location would go a long way. I know they're kind of against changing existing structures. Oh wait, no, they changed the Desert Temple during Trails and Tales, I think it was, to add suspicious sand room. Yeah. They can totally change the pressure plate location, and I think they should. And next up we have the Jungle Temple, and the Jungle Temple, it's kind of like the Desert Temple, but the loot's a lot worse and there's better traps. They're not great traps, and you would say they're probably not even traps really at all, but I think they can be considered as traps. You know, those tripwire hooks, they're not going to clip themselves. You know, you gotta do that yourself in order to evade them. I think it needs to be upgraded in order for it to be you know, a structure that people want to go to. But speaking of Minecraft structures that need more of a reason to go to them, we have, of course, the igloo, probably one of the least utilized structures ever. um, there's not much to say about it, you know. If you want a zombie villager, you're probably just gonna go out and find a zombie villager out in the open. They don't spawn that rarely. There's not really any advantage to finding them in this structure, you know? Like, yeah, you have all the materials, but getting that thing out of there is no easy task. But next up we have the Pillager Outpost, and Pillager Outposts, um, they've got goat horns, I guess. Um, I don't think that I don't think they're the least used structure because raid farms exist and those are pretty powerful. So, you know, that it's got that going for it. But other than that, like, what are you using a pillager outpost for? You know, besides the goat horns, which are always a great plus. And it's a similar story for the witch huts. You know, like they're a cool structure. You can make some cool farms, especially in the whatever update added the overpowered redstone dust drop. You know, whatever the update that was in. Witch farms got way more useful, you know? But like, other than the farm, do you ever go to a witch hut? Not really. Unless you're getting like a black cat and need a easy way to get one. Which, I guess that actually is a plus, that the pillager outpost doesn't have, you know? It's the cats, and yet be saying, oh, you can get a lays from the pillager outpost too. Well, do you ever really use a lays? Um, yeah, probably not. Maybe you do, maybe you do. I just haven't found a really good purpose for them yet. Speaking of a lays, we have the Woodland Mansion, which it's very big, many rooms, but also not that useful. It seems like the underground structures have a lot more use than the seemingly just for like just for show ones that we have on the surface. But the Woodland Mansion does have something going for it. A little less now that Village and Pillage exists, but that used to be the only place you could get Totems of Undying, which pretty coveted item when it comes to hardcore Minecraft. But moving on from illagers into villagers, we have the villages. Wow, so surprising. And these things are one of the single-handedly most overpowered things in the entire game. You can get so much stuff with them. And at this point, it's not even funny, okay? These things can get you pulling stacked armor so quick. But I'm not saying that's like I'm not taking that away from the structure. Because the structure itself is fantastic. There's some epic houses. It feels like every single time I go to a village, there's a new house I've never seen before. And I don't know how they do it. And as the counterpart to a village, we have an abandoned village, a zombie village, if you will. And these things, I love the design, okay? I'm not gonna say I'm ever overjoyed to have an abandoned village. Most people don't see abandoned villages. I'm pretty sure. Most people they don't generate anywhere near. In my single player, I'm lucky enough to have my probably third closest village to spawn be an abandoned village, which was really sad for me day one. But after that, it's a cool novelty, you know. Cobwebs, you can find so many cobwebs there. And hey, you know, if you can't find any igloos, this place is full of zombie villagers, so don't even worry. And before we go into the nether structures, we have the ruined portal, which is both a nether and an overworld structure. But yeah, these things, they're great because before nether update, how were new players supposed to know how to go to the nether? They weren't. They were just supposed to guess, I assume. And I think that having a structure that at least hints towards the nether and like gives someone the ability to make the logical leap in order to make a portal, I think that's cool. My one major gripe with the ruined portals is that on the overworld side, there's netherrack, you know, seeing as like, oh, it's like corrupted and stuff, right? But on the nether side of them, I wish there was grass blocks or like at least dirt, because not only would that add more like lore to the game in terms of why is there netherrack in the overworld but not grass or any sort of dirt in the nether, you know? But also, if you're doing a nether only challenge, you can't get dirt. And I think getting dirt it would be a fun thing. Next up, we have nether fortresses. These giant structures of pretty much exclusively nether brick tower above the landscape of the nether. And, you know, that might have been the coolest sentence I've ever said. But no, these things they're very cool. I don't want to say they're very cool to every single thing because that just feels weird. But no, they actually are very cool. I think the Nether Fortress is like the perfect example of a structure that can get away with being made out of exclusively one block. Because like if we made strongholds out of exclusively only normal like stone brick, it wouldn't be as cool as how it has cracked and mossy variants, you know? It just wouldn't have the same effect. But I think the same can be said for the nether fortresses, but like the opposite kind of. Next up we have bastions, and bastions, very useful for speedrunning, but also so cool. So good looking, you know, these bastions. I've always wanted to renovate a bastion. I guess I've just never had the willpower to actually go through with it. But I've always wanted to renovate a bastion because I think they'd look really cool, all like not ruined. And since I forgot them the first go around, we have the ocean structures. Of course, we have the ocean monument, which every single time I realize that they're naturally generated, I'm like, how is this possible? You've made a structure out of multiple trapezoids be able to be made completely randomly generated. I guess not completely randomly generated. There is a couple parts that aren't. But like for the most part, most of those rooms are just randomly placed, which is wild to me that it becomes a coherent structure in the end. Because it's not just like making hallways left and right, they're also making hallways up and down. It's insane. My one major issue is sponge is too annoying to get. Just full stop. It's just too annoying to get. I wish there was an easier way. But then we also have shipwrecks. And these lead you to buried treasures. They're very cool. And these there's some same with like Bastion remnants and to a degree nether fortresses. There's just some structures that seem like they were made to want to be like made into a real base. And I think that strongholds And I think that shipwrecks really accomplish that. I've always wanted to have a base in a shipwreck. And lastly, to wrap up this video, we have the end cities. And I'd say probably definitely prior to 1.21, and maybe prior to 1.16, these were definitely one of my favorite Minecraft structures. Their construction is so unique, and just, it's not one that completely baffles me, how it comes together like a Guardian Monument, but there's just so many uppy downy bits that, like, how do you do this? But like, even just not even, technical, how does this work? They look so cool, you know? For the longest time I thought there was per vertical slabs, because this structure pulls the effect off that well. And I think the loot is balanced for the stage of the game that you're at, you know? You probably already have diamond armor, but it might not be the best enchanted, so, you might find, a new good set at the end city. But yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully it wasn't too long, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.